Alright, here is a new program I'm using to try and create these short videos, but this is your first quiz that you took in class, and everybody has taken it now, so we'll have retakes coming up. So let's look at this problem right here, number 1 that was on the quiz. First thing we should notice is that we've got an exponent here on this fraction, so that means we have to cube this in an exponent on this set of parentheses. So we have to cube that entire thing. So we could write it 3 times and multiply it times itself. Or we can use some of our laws of exponents, which says this 3 has to be applied to each thing. So it looks like this when I apply it to each factor inside the parentheses. Now I'm showing all the steps here, and lots of these we would kind of apply in our head. So I've cubed everything in there, and then I have to take it times 2 and times an a and times a b squared, which is this second factor in this problem. And so now let's cube each of these things. Well, if I cube a 4, I get 64. This is the power rule that says I multiply exponents. Power rule saying I multiply exponents. Power rule, multiply exponents. Then I have to take it times 2 and times a and times b squared. And I'm going to show you again all these steps. So I'm going to rewrite this by using the commutative property. I'm going to take this a and move it next to the a to the 6. I'm going to take this b squared and move it next to the b to the 12th. And my c to the 21st at the end. Ooh, I didn't move my 2. My 2 I'm going to put out front. That's fine, because remember this is multiplication, so I can multiply in any order I want. And so by moving these next to each other, I can see that's just 128. Right here I have common bases. They're both a, so I add my exponents. Common bases, and it's multiplication, so I add my exponents, and then c to the 21st. And so that is my final answer. Let's look at problem number 2. Still getting used to this software a little bit. Okay, here is problem number 2. This is a subtraction problem. These original parentheses don't mean a whole lot right here. I could easily just drop those because there's no multiplication involved at all outside the parentheses. Here I want the opposite of all that stuff, and so I'll distribute that as I drop the parentheses. Notice that gives me a plus 4c and a minus 3. So now I'm looking for my like terms. So here's a quadratic term and a quadratic term. And I'm going to put a 1 right in front of that so I can see that this is 2c squared. I'm taking away 1c squared, and that leaves me with 1c squared. Next, I've got a linear term, a 4c, a negative 4c, and a positive 4c. Those two are just going to cancel out because they're opposite. And then finally I've got a positive 7 and a negative 3, which adds up to 4. So there's the answer for number 2. Problem number 3, a little bit tougher. Problem number 3, the first thing I'm going to do is deal with this negative sign. The negative sign means I want the reciprocal of all of this stuff below it. So to find the reciprocal, I just flip the whole thing over. Everything keeps their sign. The 4m to the 4th, n to the 4th goes to the denominator, keeps its sign. Got parentheses still around it, but now it's to a positive 2 power. Now I'm going to work on the inside here. I'm going to take care of this 3. This 3, just like in the first problem, I've got to cube each of these things in there. So I cube the 2, that's an 8. M cubed, when I cube it, I multiply exponents. N squared, I cube it, I multiply exponents. The denominator, I'm going to square everything in here. So I square the 4, which is a base of 4, so that's 16. Here I'm squaring m to the 4th, which means I multiply the exponents on both the m and n. and now that whole thing is still squared. And finally what I'll do is simplify a little bit. If I look vertically, I can see 8 over 16 simplifies to a half. So I could put the 1 in the numerator if you want. M to the 9th, m to the 8th. Using the subtraction of exponents, I get m to the 1st. N to the 6th over n to the 4th. Using subtraction, I get an n squared. Now notice that's n to the positive 2. That's because I did the 8, which is in the denominator. It's on the n in the denominator, minus the 6. And so my answer ends up in the denominator. Okay, this is still, the whole quantity is still squared. I have not done anything with that 2 yet. Now I square everything. So I square the m, I square the 2, and when I square n squared, I take 2 times 2, and I get 4. And so that is my final solution. Let's move on to problem number 4. Problem number 4 is simply a combine like terms. 4x squared and 3x squared, that's 7x squared. Negative 5x, positive 4x, that's negative 1x or negative x. And then one that I forgot about, this is a cubic term. Nobody else is like him, so I could put minus 2x cubed. I'm going to put him out front. Now when I put him out front, he has to be connected to this 7 somehow. The 7 is positive, so I'm going to put just a plus in front of that. And so my final simple form would be that right there. Problem number 5. Let's go ahead and show all the steps for this guy. 8 and 12 have a common factor of 4, so I'm going to divide that 4 out. E to the 3rd and e to the 5th I'm going to rewrite as e to the, and I'm going to do the big one minus the smaller one. 5 minus 3, it makes it in the denominator because I did the 5 first. And for the f, I'll go f to the 6, and I'll subtract off the smaller exponent 2, negative 2. So as I go through and clean this up, I get f to the, notice this double negative is going to be positive, so that's f to the 8th. And in the denominator, 5 minus 3 is 2. And there is my simplest form. Alright, that takes us to the toughest problem on the quiz. That was number 6. Perimeter means distance around, so I'm going to draw a rectangle. I know the perimeter is 6x plus 2, or 10. Okay. I also know it has a length of 2x minus 4, so that's both of these sides. But I'm looking for the width, so I'm going to call this w and this w. So if I calculate my perimeter by walking around it, you can see I'd have w plus 2x minus 4 plus w plus 2x minus 4. So that's walking all the way around it, and that should equal 6x plus 10. So I'm going to combine some like terms on the left-hand side. I get 2 w's, I've got 4 x's, and I've got minus 8 equals 6x plus 10. I'm going to subtract this 4x from both sides, and I'm going to add this 8 to both sides. When I clean that up, I get 2w equals 2x plus 18, and to find the width, I'll divide everybody by 2, and I'll get x plus 9. So that is all the solutions and how you do it. To our first quiz, I will offer quiz retakes coming next week. We'll start those on Tuesday. So hopefully we won't have to spend much time going through these in class. I'll hand back your quizzes. You have a chance to look at the video.